Hey guys, it's Angie. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you how I live casted my model Tavi for my NYX Face Awards challenge. And a live casting video is probably one of the most highly requested tutorials that I've gotten, so I thought you guys would find this one helpful. I have seen a lot of tutorials on YouTube where people use plaster bandages to live cast, and I just want to advise you guys not to use that method. I know the materials are accessible and it's an inexpensive method to live cast, but there are several reasons why you shouldn't do it. The main reason is safety. Plaster applied directly to the skin has the potential to burn the skin, and that includes plaster bandages. Also, plaster is not the best casting material because it does have a lot of air pockets in it, and it's not going to pick up the details very well on the skin, which is the point of a live cast. I'm really not trying to shame anybody that's done a live cast with plaster bandages. I just want you guys to get a really nice live cast and also be safe at the same time. So I highly recommend using either alginate or silicone to live cast with. For this video, I will be using silicone as I do prefer it over alginate, and the main reasons I prefer it is because it has a longer working time than alginate, and it also can be applied in layers, and it also can be thinned down to capture really fine details. Silicone cast can be stored as well and used more than once to cast positives, unlike alginate. Alginate pretty much starts to dry and disintegrate immediately after you cast. To start this process, I applied a bald cap to Tavi using Prozaid. I slicked back his hair and then glued down the edges of the plastic cap. And I'm specifically using a plastic cap, and this one is from Kryolan, because it's very important to only use plastic when you're using silicone. Any form of latex, whether it be a latex bald cap or a latex that you apply a bald cap with, will inhibit the cure of silicone and cause it to be a sticky, gooey mess, and believe me, you don't want to have to clean that up. Now I'm going to be prepping the skin by using a release. This is called Body Double Release Cream, and it goes with the Body Double silicone that I'm going to be using. Basically what a release does is it helps release the silicone from the skin as you're moving a live cast. So I brush this all over the face, and I focus a lot of that release into any areas where there is hair, specifically the eyebrows and the eyelashes, making sure they get a nice coat. Next, I used a black Sharpie to sketch in Tavi's hairline onto the bald cap. This is going to give me a nice sculpting reference for when I start to lay down some clay. So let's get to mixing the silicone. The product I'm going to be using is called Body Double by Smooth On. It's a 2-part silicone that you mix in equal parts. I measured out equal parts of an A and a B in clear cup. I also added a few drops of silicone thinner to decrease the viscosity of the silicone, which will make it a lot easier to spread. Depending on the temperature, silicone can set faster than normal. For this batch, the silicone set a lot faster than I would have liked, so I adjusted the thinner in the next batch. So I go ahead and mix the pink into the blue, and I like that these are tinted because you can see when the silicone is thoroughly mixed. Starting at the top of the head, I begin smoothing on a layer of the silicone. I like to think of this like I'm icing a cake, but it just happens to be a head, so I'm icing a head. Then I proceeded to smooth the silicone around the perimeter of Tavi's face, and I like to try different methods every time I live cast, so I decided I would try this and kind of leave the center of his face blank so that he wouldn't have to spend as long with his mouth and eyes covered. This batch did kick pretty quickly, which you will notice because the silicone gets a lot thicker and makes it a lot harder to apply. And when this starts to happen, you want to stop spreading the silicone because it's going to start lifting the silicone that's already on the skin from the skin and create air pockets. For the next layer of silicone, I added more thinner, then began smoothing the silicone onto Tavi's face. The eyes are a bit of a tricky area because gravity is going to pull that silicone right out of the socket, and it's going to create a lot of air pockets. So I like to use a wooden tongue depressor to push the silicone up into the hollow eye sockets, and I find that works pretty well. The silicone is going to set in about 10 minutes. That's when you want to start applying your jacket of plaster bandages. This is where the plaster can come into the party. So this is going to give the silicone a support structure for casting your positives. I dip the bandages into water using my fingers to wring out some of the water, and then I smooth on the bandage onto the silicone, running my fingers over the bandage to release any air bubbles. I always apply my bandages in layers, so I'll fold them over so they'll be about 3 bandages thick. That way it'll take less time to do the live cast. To the silicone around the nose, you want to apply a very thin strip of the plaster bandage. And the way to tell that it's set is that you can take your fingernail and run it across the plaster. If it leaves an indent, it's not quite set, but if it doesn't leave an indent, it's ready to come off. Now it's time to release Tavi. He's been in there for quite a while. Good patient soldier he is. So what I like to do to start the release process is to tell the model to lean forward and start making faces, blowing out air, wrinkling the forehead, and just moving their face around. It's going to help release the silicone. Next, my friend Edwin stepped in and helped me. We ran our fingers underneath the silicone and started pulling the plaster forwards. In this particular cast, the silicone did bond to the bald cap because I forgot to release that area, so I just used my fingers to separate them, and he popped right out, fresh out the oven. So that's the basics of how I do a life cast. I will be showing how I cast a positive in my next video, so be sure to stay tuned for that. Also be sure to vote for me in the NYX Face Awards. We have a couple more days left of voting up until June 23rd. You can vote 3 times daily. I appreciate all the support, guys, and I hope you guys found this video very helpful. Otherwise, I'll see you soon in a new video. Take care. Bye.